Hello and welcome to this News 18 special. We are talking about the poll promises made by the Congress, the BJP and the JDS. Remember, the BJP today released its manifesto. The Congress has already announced 5 of its major poll promises, which it calls it as guarantees. That is already in public domain. The JDS too has released its poll promise. Now the question is, whose poll promise is more popular? Remember, although these manifestos don't act as the mainstay or the main reason on which people vote, some of the popular announcements in these manifestos do tend to kind of shift some of the vote share to the party, which manages to capture the imagination of the public through its manifesto. Siddaramaiah in 2013, with his announcement of Annabhagya, really managed to capture the mood and the minds of the people. Now the question is, can the BJP's manifesto do that? Can the Congress guarantees manage to do that? We'll discuss that. We'll also take in questions. Engage with us. Share your questions or inputs on YouTube, on our social media pages, on Twitter, on Facebook, and other places. We will discuss that. We will take it up, and we'll tell you what's happening on the ground. What's the thinking behind some of these announcements in the manifesto? We'll also get voices of our reporters from the ground who've been talking to people and are clearly and closely observing the developments. But first, we're listening to what some of the major voices in Karnataka today, politicians, ministers have spoken about, especially with regard to the manifesto released by the BJP.
Got all the ingredients of economic growth, social equality, and it has got a lot of scope for the futuristic thinking for the Karnataka.
ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆ ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾಳೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆ ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೋಗಸ್ಸು. ನಾವು ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಅಂತ ಭರವಸೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವರು ಬೋಗಸ್ ಭರವಸೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ನಮಗೂ ಬಿಜೆಪಿಗೂ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಅದು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಕಳೆದ ಸಾರಿ 600 ಭರವಸೆಗಳು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು 2018ರಲ್ಲಿ, ಬರೀ 55 ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ನಾವು 165 ಭರವಸೆಗಳು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು, 158 ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್.
Well, that's Siddaramaiah saying that what's the point of announcing anything in the manifesto? You do not anyway fulfill those promises. We had given 165 promises. We had fulfilled most of them. In fact, Siddaramaiah wanted a report card. He asked the BJP to first release a report card on how many promises that the BJP made in the 2018 manifesto has been fulfilled by the BJP government between 2019 and 23. Remember, that's the tenure during which the BJP was in power in Karnataka. So he's asking for a status report or a report card on how many of those promises have been fulfilled. Now let's come to whose manifesto is more popular. Let's look at what the parties are assuring people. The Congress is saying we will give 2,000 rupees for every woman household, woman head of every household. You have the Congress also announcing 200 units of power free to every household, irrespective of APL or BPL families. They're also declaring 10 kg rice free for every person, every family, every month. They've also announced a stipend of 3,000 rupees for unemployed graduates for a term of 2 years after they finish their degree. That's what they're announcing. They've recently also announced free public transport for all women in the state, whether they are from organized or unorganized sector. The BJP has a whole list of promises. It begins from Uniform Civil Code, NRC, to 3 gas cylinders free during the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, Ugadi, and Deepavali. They're also saying that we'll set up dialysis and chemotherapy units. They've also promised half-liter milk free to every BPL family and 5 kg of millet in addition to 5 kg of rice that's been currently given. These are some of the major poll promises of the BJP. The Congress is mocking them, saying that if you called our promises as freebies, then what is it that you're offering in the way of millets or milk it almost amounts to freebie. Our promises is called freebie. You had HK Patil who said, well, this is just a cut copy paste of Congress's manifesto. The BJP lacks imagination. Now let's break this down. There are multiple assurances given by the BJP and the Congress to people, but does it really tilt the does it really tilt anybody's vote in favor of a particular party? You have questions already coming in, but just before that, let's also discuss what the parties are looking at when these manifestos are released. They're looking at assurance, giving assurance to people. They're also looking at a roadmap for the government if it comes to power, and then fulfilling that. Because 5 years later, as Siddaramaiah asked today, there will be questions on what the government has done. How many of those promises have been fulfilled? We already have one question coming in. We have Rahul from Hyderabad who's asking, do voters care about NRC and Uniform Civil Code in Karnataka? Well, two aspects here. NRC is not a big issue in Karnataka. The state doesn't have a huge issue of illegal immigrants. You do have a small number of Bangladeshi immigrants who are perhaps in Karnataka, but the cops are dealing with that. It's not a social issue per se, like how we had seen it in certain states of Northeast. It's not something that the people are scared or alarmed about. Even the UCC, the Uniform Civil Code, who really is pushing the government to implement UCC? It's largely the voters of the BJP who would have voted for the BJP, irrespective of whether the BJP would have implemented the Uniform Civil Code or not. So that's the reason many are asking if this will really attract votes for the BJP. Does it really act as a game changer? It just consolidates the vote that was already with them. That's what many are saying. So NRC perhaps might not be a huge issue in Karnataka. This is not something that the BJP will get huge votes on. We have second question coming in. You have Anthony from Bengaluru who's asking, what does BJP's manifesto have for the middle class? Now, you look at the manifesto of the Congress and the BJP. The BJP's manifesto is talking about certain products being given to people. It's largely to the BPL, the below poverty line families, whether it's half liter of milk or 5 kg of millet, or even the health scheme that they have announced of extending Ayushman Bharat insurance coverage to 10 lakh rupees. 5 lakh is already by default given by the scheme. The state government says we will add another 5 lakh and ensure all BPL families get 10 lakh rupees of health cover through Ayushman Bharat. Most of these are targeted at the middle class, at the BPL families. That's what many are saying. The interesting point here is the Congress says our manifesto, in fact, can reach a larger mass. They are saying our schemes like 200 units of free electricity is something that anybody can get, whether it's the middle class or the upper middle class. And they're saying in a city like Bangalore, many middle class families perhaps might be using electricity under 200 units. So they will also be beneficiaries. And they're saying our scheme or our poll promise, in fact, will have a much larger base that will cover a lot more beneficiaries. I will bring in my colleague, Akshara, who's been traveling on the ground. Akshara, do join us on this chat now. You've been traveling to Belagavi. You've gone to Hubli Dharwad region, the Kalyan Karnataka region, and the Mumbai Karnataka region. Do you believe that some of these promises, which the Congress announced upfront, they were the first off the blocks, that really mattered? Was it something that has captured the imagination of people?
Well, yes. No, we spoke to people of Belgavi rural when we traveled to Kittur, Karnataka region, and the few complaints which these individuals complained was that the one main thing was the electricity problem. So few of them complained that there is no proper electricity provided. So even if Congress provides this fulfill all these demands, free 200 units of electricity will matter to them. And also, when we spoke to these people regarding the other poll promises of the Congress as well regarding providing 2,000 to women heads. All these promises do matter for the people of Belgavi rural. But once again, we have BJP as well who have come up with all these promises. The other thing is it also matters how they convey, how they reach out to the voters and inform these voters about the poll promises and also the manifesto, all these promises which BJP has mentioned. And B.S. Yediyurappa has rightfully said that it is left upon their karyakartas how well they reach out to these voters and inform them regarding these poll promises. But once again, Congress is also yet to release their poll manifesto. We have to wait for it and look out what other poll promises will they come up with.
Well, in fact, Akshara, you made a very valid point here. Now, the Congress, as I mentioned, was the first of the blocks. Perhaps by January, they had started talking about their first poll promise with Priyanka Gandhi coming in. Now, the fear is the BJP doesn't have enough time to convey all these schemes to the people. Remember, it has to reach the last man in the village who will vote. And the Karyakartas have perhaps another 10 days left to do that, a little less than 10 days to do that. And the campaigning has to get over 2 days before the election. So not much time left. In fact, we have a few more questions coming in. We have Ruben Loganathan, who's asking if Congress wins as polls are showing. Will be interesting to see how can they pay for all the freebies they've promised without putting the state in financial danger. Now, this is something that I asked Siddaramaiah yesterday in the exclusive interview that we had with the former chief minister. He says, I've presented 13 budgets. That's a record for any person in Karnataka. He's presented 13 budgets as the finance minister, as deputy chief minister, and then as the chief minister. And he says, I know the fiscal position of the state, and we have enough to ensure that all these schemes are covered. He gives an example. He says, we were giving 7 kg of rice free when our government was there. What we are promising now is 10 kg. The BJP has reduced it to 5 kgs. He says what we are promising now is 10 kgs, which means there's just an addition of 3 kgs per person per family. And he says that could be only around 2,000 crore rupees, something that the BJP, that the state government can take. He says in no way the state exchequer will be impacted by this. And he's saying they have not made these promises out of thin air. They've spoken to experts, they've spoken to people within the government to get an understanding of how much the outgo would be and how much it will cost. Already you have political parties asking if these 5 schemes or these 5 promises alone are costing the state exchequer 1 lakh crore rupees. Then how is the government funding it if just 5 schemes take away at least 1/3 of your budget? It could hit the development. Has to be seen if the Congress can manage to do this balancing act if they come to power. We have Mr. Swaminathan, who's asking, BJP manifesto is good, implementable, will not make citizens lazy, irresponsible. Citizens need to be responsible. If we sacrifice for a few years, the future generation will get the permanent benefit of infra development. This is a debate that has seen comments on both sides. We've had people who've said that these issues can't be seen as freebies. These are announcements that help and empower families. We were in Varuna, the constituency of former chief minister, and one man there belonging to the Madiga community says that I get at least 5 kg of rice per person, which means I don't have to worry about my basic meal per day. All I need to do is that I ensure there is some tur dal and salt, and I can survive if there is a drought. He also says I'm not at the mercy of contractors who exploit me for cheap labor. So many seeing these schemes as a way of empowering people. For example, giving free rides to women. Anybody who goes on Mysore Road in Karnataka or in near Bangalore or Mangdi Road would have seen women being stuffed into tempos and trucks that are meant for goods carrying women to garment factories. Highly unsafe. Many saying that it also in a way degrades the basic human respect that one deserves. So many of these announcements might actually help people, is the feeling that many get. But you are right. There is a fear that it could derail the infrastructure development in Karnataka, but the Congress says we have factored all that in. That won't happen. We have Rishabh from Bangalore asking, no major promise for Bangalore. Well, at least in the BJP manifesto, no major infrastructure push that we have seen. That was something that was expected. They're talking more about ensuring that the basic governance mechanism is fixed in the capital city, and there will be common mobility card. They will also ensure that the seamless governance between various agencies and also how they work together on one project. We have Priya from Noida asking, whose manifesto is more impactful? Well, it would be wrong on my part if we both sit here and decide whose manifesto would be more impactful. But just to give you a chatter on what is going on within the BJP and the Congress says our manifesto covers a bigger voter base. They are saying some of our schemes are directly targeted towards middle class. They are saying a lot of middle class women travel. On buses, and they are the beneficiaries if they are given free bus travel. They are seeing a lot of middle class families, even in a mega urban metropolitan like Bangalore, use less than 200 units of power. So saying that's a huge plus. They too will be beneficiaries. They are saying even our stipend for unemployed educated graduates too is something that everyone will be beneficiary of. So they are saying our promises reach out to a lot more people and not just BPL families. The BJP says we are looking at the holistic development of the state, and we are looking at everyone. And our announcements are not just restricted to BPL. There are other announcements or other policy decisions that the upper class and the middle class will benefit from. So that's what the parties assess. Akshara, you were traveling in Belagavi. Some of these aspects of giving stipend to unemployed educated graduates, has it resonated with them? Because rural Karnataka has seen issue of unemployment.
Well, yes, no, there's a differing opinion there. Few of these students do agree with the fact that yes, they do need a stipend, no, during the time which they're unemployed, till the time they get a job, so that they provide some due assistance as well. But a few of the other students differed with that opinion. They say this just doesn't work. The stipend, they must ensure that they get a proper job there. So be it any skill developmental programs or any other programs that will be that's going to be implemented by the government, not just its implementation, they must ensure that they get a proper job once after they undergo the training. So few of them differed with that and differed with this particular opinion.
In fact, this was one opinion that we saw in Bellary as well. I was in Bellary reporting. I spoke to a few youngsters and said the Congress is trying to give you a stipend if you don't get a job. They said, well, it won't help us much. What do we do with 2,000 rupees for 2 years or 3,000 rupees every month for 2 years? Instead, create jobs. Instead, ensure jobs move out of Bangalore and reach tier 2, tier 3 cities. One individual in Bellary asked me that if there are enough jobs in Bellary or Hospete, why would I move to Bengaluru? Why does the government then need to give me 2 years of stipend to find a job in Bengaluru? I will happily be employed in Bellary. I can be with my family. So we want the government to ensure jobs are created outside Bengaluru as well. That would be a huge challenge for anyone coming in, that jobs get created outside Bengaluru as well, and they can be closer to their families. This is something that the industry has been asking too. In fact, the startup industry to which we spoke just a few days ago said merely setting up incubation centers might not help. You will have to create an ecosystem. Now let's move into the last segment of our discussion. This is related to the polls that we have carried, and you have the Twitter poll which had asked Karnataka Elections 2023, which party's election manifesto is more appealing? Well, BJP's says the Janta at 46.7%, 40.8% of the people are saying that the Congress's manifesto is appealing, just a mere 1.3% of supporters of JDS saying that their manifesto is appealing, and at least 11.3% of the population or the voters on Twitter to be specific, say none of the above manifestos are appealing to them. So not much of a difference between the BJP and the Congress. BJP's manifesto is getting 46%, Congress around 40%. So not much of a difference between both those votes for both these national parties and their manifesto. In fact, YouTube has also given its Janta on YouTube have given their opinion. This is a poll that was carried out on YouTube where more than 1,200 people voted. We had asked a similar thing, a similar question: which party's election manifesto is more appealing? We had also asked them to drop in their thoughts. At least 59% of them are saying that BJP's manifesto is more appealing. Around 60% of them saying, or beg your pardon, 27% of them saying that Congress's manifesto was appealing to them. Only around 4% saying JDS's manifesto appeals to them. At least 10% once again saying that none of those manifestos have any impact on them. That's the opinion. Clearly, the JDS not the favorites, especially on social media. The BJP getting some edge over there over Congress in terms of capturing the imagination, at least on social media. Now, even as we had a huge debate on manifesto and what the BJP was promising, it was Priyank Karge who managed to grab all the headlines. His father, Mallikarjun Kharge, last week called the Prime Minister a poisonous snake. Today, Kharge's son, Priyank Karge, came out and called the Prime Minister a useless son. This has led to a huge war of words with the BJP saying that the Congress has become desperate and they're constantly targeting the Prime Minister.
ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನೀವು ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗಾಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ನೀವು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ಬಂಜಾರ ಸಮಾಜದವರಿಗೆ आप सब लोग डरिए मत बंजारा का एक बेटा दिल्ली में बैठा है अंत ऐसा नालायक बेटा बेटा तो कैसा होता है घर कैसे चलेगा हाँ
Well, that's one comment by Priyank Karge that will cost Congress a lot. Remember, the BJP has managed to capture the imagination, especially with Prime Minister's rallies, constantly referring to senior Karge, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge's statement calling the Prime Minister a poisonous snake. This time, his son calling the Prime Minister a useless son. Something that we can expect the BJP to encash on. The Prime Minister will be in town tomorrow, and he's likely to once again refer to these comments. He's already done that with the poisonous snake comment. He's likely to refer to this once again. Many within the Congress party and especially the leadership, state leadership, Akshara, was very keen that this election should be fought on local issues, on the issue of corruption, on the issue of Basuraj Bommai's governance, the alleged 40% Sarkar. But clearly over the last 5 days, that entire plan has gone off track.
Well, yes, absolutely. The Congress kept the highlight on the 40% commission and other infrastructural rules and issues. So they did focus on these issues. In fact, Siddaramaiah, the former chief minister, did try to control the damage when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was here. He questioned the Prime Minister regarding infrastructural problems, inflation, unemployment, and various other issues. They tried to keep the focus there. Even D.K. Shivakumar refused to comment on Mallikarjun Kharge's remark. He did try to divert it by saying that Mallikarjun Kharge is the right person to answer, not me. So they were clearly trying to steer away from that conversation. But once again, Priyank Kharge making such comments against Narendra Modi will likely to backfire against their own party, which state leadership is clearly trying to avoid.
Well, whether it backfires or not, we'll get to know on the 13th, but clearly gives ammunition to the BJP, especially when the Congress was keeping the whole election narrative around BJP's alleged corruption. Suddenly, for the last 4-5 days, it's about state Congress versus Prime Minister Modi, and it's clearly not a match in a country where Prime Minister enjoys immense love and affection. Well, that's all we can discuss today. We'll be back tomorrow with another issue from Karnataka elections. We'll try to decipher it for you, engage with you, take your questions, and also see if we can give you some insight and what is the chatter going on inside the BJP and Congress circles. That's all we can get you from Bengaluru today. We'll join you tomorrow. Thanks a lot for watching.